Hey guys, so as you can see here, there's a bunch of screws. I'm gonna be going through and taking off all of these key tops, the faces, and then we're gonna get in and start to take off the keys, these little metal brackets that look like this. We'll take the rust off of these, and then we're actually gonna get into the bottom, clean that out, and take all of the components out on the bottom, clean everything up, and then start to clean out the bus bars, and then start to put stuff back together. I have some new bushings, which I'll show you here in a second, that are coming in. So we'll have to take a pause once everything's done and taken apart and cleaned, and then we'll start to put everything back together once those parts come in. Thanks. All right, so like I said, we're gonna start taking keys off. I was talking about the bushing. So these are the screws that are taking the key face off. Once that happens, actually, let me show you in here. You see we have these things which actually hold the springs that are attached. And the way this keyboard works is the key here moves and then the springs touch the contact, and that's what actually works. But you can see how filthy it is. It is just coated in paint and dirt and rust. I actually also bought some new felt. It's just plain felt, so we're gonna have to cut all of these new little felt pieces. That's gonna be not very fun. But to actually take the keys out very delicately here, and I'm just gonna get a screwdriver, you have to lift up and then remove whatever this little plastic component is that holds the springs from the key. And I try to do that as delicately as possible because these springs are very delicate and I don't want to have to order more. And as you can see, it just removes and flips off. We'll take a few more of these off. Yep, just so that I can expedite the process. And then I'll try to clean these spring holders, or whatever these little clear plastic parts are called, without removing them if I can. If I need to, maybe with some Q-tips and some cleaning solution, some solvent of some sort. But they're rubber, so I want to be careful. I also have some silicone grease to re-grease the bushings and some other parts. So I'm gonna flip this back over, and then we can start to unscrew these. And I'm actually gonna set myself up over here so that I have a free hand, and y'all can see this. There we go. Perfect. So what I'm gonna first do is I'll start over here and just work my way down. This is the first black key that I removed, so we'll see what that's like, if it's any different. Just removing this screw, and I actually have a bag for these. So I'm trying a system out here. I always watch these videos where people restore things and they take out all the screws and just put them in a bucket. I will lose them and I won't know where they go. So I'm labeling Ziploc bags and just putting everything in those Ziplocs as I go. And as I said, this lifts off. You can see just how filthy this is. And it's a little easier to see on the white keys and the black keys, but they're just gross. Now, like I said, this lifts off. There's actually a spring underneath here that y'all haven't seen. Let me show you if you can see it. Let me see. If I remove that, I don't know if y'all can see, it's very faint, but there's a spring down in there that I'm gonna lift out with a screwdriver, and then I'll take this off. All right, so I got a flat head here, and I'm actually gonna go in here and just wiggle this spring out. All right, it's out now. I'm just having to kind of fish for it because there's so much dust in here that it's sticking to it, which is just gross. All right, so the spring's out. Here we go. As you can see, there's a little dust bunny attached to it, but there is a spring right there, and that's just to help the key come back up. Get a little friction, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this off and put it in another Ziploc bag again. Here's the keyboard springs. There's actually a rear spring as well that I'll show you in a second that helps it return. I think this one's for friction going down and the other one's for helping the key return. So, okay, now you can see there's also, let me see here, sorry. There's also a spring right here. So I'll be removing that. Let me just get set up so y'all can see it. The best I can. Sorry, I'm on a smaller work surface here. It's my dining room table. All right, and what I found on these, it's fairly easy if there's like a hook on one side and then a loop on another. So if you press down on the bottom, that's where the hook is. And that one just kind of fell right off. This one's actually bent, which sucks. That might actually affect playability. I might have to order another one, but as you can see, there's a loop on one end, and on the other end, there's this hook. So I might actually have to buy a replacement one of these. Luckily, a lot of keyboards from the area use Pratt Read keyboards, and the parts are fairly compatible, so I'll try to find another one of these. All right, so that's both springs out and the screw out and this facing off. Now this actually just lifts off. And this is, I'm not sure the function. I assume it's just to allow things to be smooth and move more freely, but there's this little thing called a bell crank cup or cap, bell cap. They're all just these different names. They're $15. So I really want to make sure I save all of these and not have to buy them. So I also have another Zippy that these bell crank cups or caps come in. So as you can see here, I'll just drop it in. And now we have the key bar here. It is totally rusted and just filthy. Again, here's ones that I've put in some rust cleaner overnight, and I mean, let me get out of this light here. You can easily tell the color difference. Also the fact that there's no rust on them anymore. This one's particularly rusty, so hopefully it'll clean. I've noticed that there's this blue coloring in there. I'm not sure if it's a paint or some sort of lubricant or stain. If anyone knows, I'm just curious what it actually does. So I'm gonna continue and get a bunch of these and then we'll put these in some rust cleaner later, and then we'll check back up on it and see how they're doing. Okay, so now I got everything off. You can see all the bell crank cups, all of my springs. You know, this one seems a little damaged, and this one, I lost one of these, but then I found it. It had gotten caught in some of this dust. So I guess the dust is actually not so bad. Everything else seems fine. Again, these bushings are completely shot. I don't even know, they're so dry. We'll get them off. These are all uneven, I assume, from just being banged around. Here are the keys. I mean, these are nauseatingly filthy. It's making me a little sick. This one's actually broken. Someone had super glued it very lightly and it broke when it came off. I have ordered a replacement, so that should be okay. Black keys, you know, as you'd expect, look better. A lot of rust on these parts, a ton. So let's bring them over to the sink and clean these up, wash these off. We'll get this in some rust converter, and then we'll look at cleaning and polishing these up. All right, so got the keys here. I bought some brushes so that I don't have to use our kitchen brushes. All I'm gonna do is put a little soap on this and then wash all of these off. I have a piece of paper towel that I've set right here, and I'm just going to set all of the parts here, and then we'll get it into some evaporust. I have a cup of that just off screen that I'll pull into the sink, and we'll place all these in there and just let them sit for probably, 4 or 5 hours. Yesterday I tried with 1 hour and it didn't get it quite there. So we'll do 5 hours, maybe 4. All right, let's get going.
And you can see here's the first one's still quite dirty, but the evaporust will take care of a lot of that. I'll just set that right here.
Okay, so we have all of our keys here. Like I said, I have some evaporust. I'm gonna sit here. I pre-poured a bit of it. And now I'm actually just gonna take these, since they're nice and clean, and place them in. And I want the water, or the evaporust, to completely cover it. All right, and now I'm just gonna set a timer, and then in an hour and a half come back and check on it, and then just do it again and again. All right, now I've got a bucket of water that I'm gonna place all of the keys into, but first I'm gonna put some simple green in there and just let them soak while the metal key bars are actually soaking in the evaporust. So we'll drop all the keys in here. And then I'll just do a little agitation. All right, so we're at an hour and a half here. And I thought, whoop, there we go. We would check on the keys. And you can see this one has really cleaned up well. But there's a little, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little rust right there. Probably be able to scrub that off. Let's look at some of these other ones. That one's totally clean. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure these stay in the liquid here. So is this one. So it's looking like after an hour and a half, a lot of this is really quite clean. Let's keep going here. The evaporust is pretty amazing. Wow, see? So we still have a little bit of red rust on some of these, but I mean, the rest of this, just look at that color change. There's a few spots here and there. Let's see a few more. This one's rust is mostly gone. There's just a few converted black spots. This one's totally, there's a little bit of rust right here and some right here. So what I'm gonna do is actually leave these and we'll set another hour and a half here. Oh. And we'll come back and check on it in an hour and a half. And the keys are actually still soaking outside, so we'll leave them out for another hour and a half as well in the simple green. All right, so we got another hour and a half. Let's see how these are looking. So you can see that. It appears the rest is fully off of that one. Let's look at this one. And it would appear that the rust is fully, oh, it's hard to see, fully off of this one as well. So we might be ready to pull these out. Let me pull out a new one here. There's just a little tiny bit of black you saw. I don't know if you can see it just at the tip there on that one. So I might actually rotate it and stick it in upside down. This one looks fully cleaned. So we're almost there. Let's see. See, there was some oxidation there, but it's gone, which is great. Looks like that's done. The bottom's not rusted. Let's just check one more. I think what I might do is leave it for another 30, a final 30. I don't think we need any more than that. Here's another one. A little bit of rust still on the bottom. A little bit on top. So let's leave these in for another 30 minutes in the evapor rust. And then we'll check back on these, and then we'll check on the keys that I have outside. I'm just gonna keep letting them soak because it'll just help clean it up. All right, let's set that timer again. Wash off my hand here. It says it's very safe, but I'll wash off my hand. All right, say hi, Rosie. All right, so we'll set another, this time I finally can use the timer, right? Hour and a half, and then we should be good to go after that. All right, so now I'm gonna pull these keys out, and I'm actually gonna bring the bucket inside, but we'll wash them off. It looks like a lot of this grime and stuff is maybe more of a stain than dirt, but they're looking a lot better than they were. So we'll take them inside and rinse them off. All right, so we're set back up. I'm actually gonna take these out first, and I'll actually move the evapor rust over here, put this in the sink. Don't wanna spill that. Got my brushes here. And what I'm gonna do is just clean these off in the sink, but it looks like after a rinse, everything should be done. And actually, I might just stick the bucket in here. And I have all the simple green. I can just rinse it off in some soap and then rinse it off with some water. So we'll do that, and then we'll take a look at these keys. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's still a little bit of corrosion on here. I actually have a brass bristle brush that I'm gonna rub on here and see if I can get some off. Looks like we're getting most of it off. There's nothing else on here, it's just right here. Let's see here. Yeah, just a little bit left. Let's keep brushing here. I think we can get it off. All right, so I got a stainless steel brush here. There's a little corrosion on here still, so I'm gonna just keep scrubbing with the stainless steel brush. And it's a little bit harder than the brass or the nylon brushes, so. And that actually is pretty good. If you can see, oh, let me get it in focus here for y'all. Most of the rust is off. I'm just gonna go over it a couple more times, maybe rest it off here. And it looks like just the really severely corroded ones, or one, it's only one out of the few that we had, just did not make it. All right, so that one's pretty good. I'm gonna continue washing then.
I'm gonna brush with the nylon brush.
right, so now I got some really nice clean bars right here. I'm gonna actually sit this, but look at how, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's all this white debris. That all came off of these even after we brushed them, so those, I guess I'll call them key bars or whatever you want to call them, are filthy. Now, when I look here, there's still, if you can see it, there's still some sort of staining on here. I'm gonna see if just a light brush or this nylon brush gets it off. If not, we will be retro brighting all of these. I bought some retro bright to clean it up. I mean, for the most part, yeah, for the most part I got everything out. The soak, I mean, it was a long soak out in the sun. Doesn't look like anything else is coming off of these, to be honest with you. So that's great. We do still have some paint that's on here that we're gonna have to contend with. I think I might get a scalpel in another video and scrape this all off, but at least the keys are all clean. There's no more dirt on them. So I'm gonna rinse them off here and brush them with the nylon brush, and then just sit them back over here on top of all this so it can all dry. Now this is interesting. This rust kind of staining here actually cleans off with just some really mild scrubbing. So it looks like some of these stains aren't so set as others. You got some dirt here still, or not dirt, I guess rust staining from the screws. Yeah, and that's just not coming out. So I'm gonna keep going. It looks like most of this, if there's anything left on here, just doesn't really come off. And we'll have to use the Retro Bright, which is just some hydrogen peroxide and OxyClean to clean this off. And everything else seems to be just a stain that we'll have to bleach out. All right.
There's some more of that paint I was talking about.
All right. Now, just for context, I'm gonna dry off one of these. Again, let's get one of the keys. There we go. Again, there's still paint on it, but we'll get there. This is just going to be a longer process than a simple repair. But let's go see how these compare to the keys that were originally on there. So again, here's some of the other keys that are there. Let's just sit this on for comparison. It's pretty dramatic. Just how much cleaner this is than that, and that is a patina that only the rust remover really takes off. And then just for context as well, disregard the yellowing because this will be retro brighted so that they're all the same, but you can just tell pretty clearly just how much cleaner these are. So we'll continue on with the rest of these keys, or I will, and then once everything's clean, keys and these bars, everything's removed, we'll get back together to look at how we're gonna take apart this, clean it, and then when the parts come in, we'll put on the new bushings, we'll grease everything. I got a new these little rubber knobs that actually attach the keyboard circuit board to this stand. So we'll install that and then use some deoxit gold to clean the bus bars and everything else, the contacts. So I'll continue with this, and then in our next video, we'll actually get into working on the rest of the keyboard. Thanks.